Have you ever wondered about the history America tried to forget? Today, we're journeying back in time, exploring a chapter of American history that has been systematically erased from our textbooks and public memory. We're talking about the rise and fall of Black-owned and Black-operated train lines. Long before the interstate highway system carved up the nation, and before segregation laws were fully codified, these railways were lifelines, connecting Black communities, fostering economic growth, and literally moving generations toward a brighter future. Let's start at the beginning, in the decades following the Civil War. During Reconstruction, there was a brief, powerful surge of opportunity for African Americans. For the first time, Black entrepreneurs could build businesses, acquire land, and create infrastructure for their own communities. And what was the most powerful engine of progress in the 19th century? The railroad. It was the internet of its time, connecting people, goods, and ideas across vast distances. While major rail companies dominated the landscape, a few determined Black visionaries saw an opportunity. They knew that to build true economic independence, they needed to control their own transportation. Imagine the sheer ambition. In a country still reeling from slavery, where racial hostility was a daily reality, these pioneers set out to build their own railroads. This wasn't just about laying tracks. It was a profound statement of self-determination. These train lines weren't just for profit. They were designed to serve Black towns and rural areas that were deliberately ignored by the white-owned rail networks. They transported farmers' crops to market, brought in essential supplies, and crucially, provided safe passage for Black travelers who faced constant discrimination and danger on mainstream lines. One of the most remarkable examples is the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway's gilt-edge service. While not fully Black-owned, its operation heavily relied on Black porters, cooks, and waiters who transformed train travel into a luxurious experience. But more to the point were the smaller, truly Black-owned ventures. Take, for instance, the North Carolina Mutual and Provident Association's involvement in local streetcar lines. These weren't massive transcontinental routes, but they were vital arteries within Black communities. They were owned by the people they served, and the profits were reinvested back into those same communities, funding schools, churches, and other businesses. It was a closed-loop economic system that was beginning to build real generational wealth. These rare photographs, pulled from dusty archives, are more than just pictures. They are ghosts of a future that was stolen. Look at this photo here. You can see the pride on the faces of the all-Black crew standing in front of their locomotive. This wasn't just a job. It was ownership. It was a symbol of what was possible. Here's another, showing a bustling platform in a Black-run station. Families are saying their goodbyes. Business people are shaking hands. This is a scene of a thriving, self-sufficient community, connected to the wider world on its own terms. These train lines were also crucial during the Great Migration. As millions of African Americans sought to escape the Jim Crow South, these railways offered a safer, more dignified path northward. On white-owned trains, Black passengers were relegated to segregated Jim Crow cars, often located right behind the engine, where they were forced to endure choking smoke and soot. The conditions were deplorable, and the humiliation was a constant reminder of their second-class status. Black-operated lines, even the smaller ones, offered a refuge from this daily degradation. They were mobile, safe spaces where you could travel without fear of insult or violence. So, what happened? Why did these promising enterprises disappear? The answer is a slow, deliberate, and systematic dismantling. As the 20th century progressed, the political climate shifted. The gains of Reconstruction were rolled back. Segregation laws became more entrenched. Simultaneously, economic pressures mounted. The major railroad monopolies, backed by powerful political and financial interests, saw these independent Black lines not as partners, but as threats. They used their immense power to undercut them, refusing to connect lines, charging exorbitant fees for track usage, and lobbying for regulations that would squeeze the smaller players out of the market. It was a war of attrition. Without access to the larger network and facing discriminatory lending practices from banks, it became nearly impossible for these black-owned railroads to expand or even maintain their existing infrastructure. Then came the final blows: the rise of the automobile and the construction of the federal highway system in the 1950s. This massive government project fundamentally reshaped American transportation, prioritizing cars and trucks over trains. But the new highways were not neutral. They were often routed directly through thriving black neighborhoods, destroying homes, businesses, and community centers. This process, often called urban renewal, was in reality urban removal. It physically severed the connections that held black communities together, completing the work of erasure that had begun decades earlier. The train lines that had once been symbols of hope and progress were abandoned. The tracks were torn up, the stations were demolished, and the companies went bankrupt. And with them went the memory. A story of black-owned railroads was simply written out of history. It didn't fit the prevailing narrative of black dependency or failure. It was a story of success, of autonomy, of a future that America chose to destroy. What you're seeing in these photos is the evidence. This isn't just black history, it's American history. It's just the story of how progress was intentionally derailed and how an entire infrastructure of black wealth and community was erased, not by accident, but by design. The older generation of black Americans, those who remember riding these trains or hearing stories from their parents, they know this history. They remember the names of the lines and the pride they represented. But for the rest of America, it's a blank page. The legacy of this erasure is still with us today. The economic disparities, the fragmented communities, the lack of infrastructure in many black neighborhoods, these are not accidents of history. They are the direct result of deliberate policies that dismantled black progress, brick by brick and rail by rail. By uncovering these photos and telling these stories, we're doing more than just correcting the historical record. We're reclaiming a legacy of black innovation, resilience, and ambition. We re-honoring the visionaries who dared to build their own path forward in a nation that was determined to hold them back. These images force us to confront a difficult truth, that for every story of progress we celebrate, there are countless others of progress that was deliberately crushed. This hidden history matters. It helps us understand the present, and it reminds us of the incredible power of self-determination. Thank you for joining me on this journey into a forgotten past. If this story resonated with you, please like this video and share it. The more people who know this history, the harder it will be to ever erase it again. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories you are never taught in school. See you next time.